Well, hello once again. Aloha. Hello to everyone on the planet. My name is Abdu'l. I am the elder of Baha'u'llah, the official envoy of God on the earth. It sounds ridiculous, isn't it? Well, we shall see. So, last time I promised that I will give you some salient features of Islam, the issues that are most prominent. There are many, but we will point to some of them, which is really relevant to our discussion, to the future discussion that is going to be coming up. So by one, simple survey on Quran and other books outside of Quran, which would be called traditions, the saying of Muhammad and all 12 Imams, we find two prominent things promised in Islam. One is an event. The other one is actually about a persona, a person. This event is called Qiyamat, or Day of Resurrection. In Quran you see a lot of phrases, Yawmul Qiyamah, Day of Resurrection. Also it's called Yawmul Hisab, the Day of Reckoning, Yawmul Talaq, the Day of Separation, segregation. Or it is called As-Sa'ah, the hour. Frequently God promises about such day. Then, not in Quran, but in all the traditional books, including the Book of Muhammad, Sunnis and Shiites, Ismailis and others, they all know about a persona called Mehdi, the divine guide, Qa'im, the resurrector, the one who stands for the truth, for God. And beside him, right after him, there would be two characters. Shiite, they call him Hussein. Sunnis, they picture him as Jesus Christ. Yes. In Islam, the coming of Jesus Christ, the second coming of Jesus Christ, is a matter of fact for the Muslims to believe in. They do, however, have different concept about it. We shall see. Today I'm going to be talking about the event, the Qiyamat, Yawm al-Qiyamat, the Day of Resurrection. There are a lot of pictures of it, especially by Sunnis, that are very similar to that of the Christianity. Call it Doomsday, the day the earth ends and whatnot. In the Shiite, they see that event is accompanied, very much characterized, by a persona as well, who's called Qa'im, Mehdi. Quite literally, the 12th successor of Muhammad is to be showing up in the Day of Resurrection. So far, the Shiites only have 11. The 12th one, they say it's in occultation. It's concealed, it's hidden imam otherwise. So back to the Qiyamat, which is the event. There are few things that happens in Qiyamat. The most prominent one of them all is actually that the Muslims, they shall be visiting the God, the very creator of the universe. So some see this as being afterlife. Some they see that the whole world, planet will die, there's nobody, and then God comes out and people come speed out of their grave and they see God. But there are evidences in Quran that it says, for example, how does this place? I have found for you a few verses in Quran that talks about the meeting with God. Let's see some of these. Chapter 8, called Al-Anfal, the spoils of war, and these are not my translation. Verse 17, chapter 8. It was not you who I am going in my, not the right ones yet, isn't it? Yes. So, great apology. So we're reading chapter 13 called Al-Ra'd, the thunder. It says, number 2, it is Allah who raised the heavens without the pillars that you see. Then He willed to the throne and subjected the sun and the moon, each pursuing an appointed course. He directs the affairs. He makes plain His verses, He makes plain His verses so that you will firmly believe in meeting your Lord. So the entire purpose of writing simple verses, clarified verses, and the creation of the universe is nothing but so that you believe that you're going to see your Lord, your God. Chapter 29, Al-Ankabut, the spider, number 5. He who hopes to meet Allah must know that the term of Allah is coming. He is the healer, the knower. So, there are those who are hoping to see Him. This is the condition He puts in. Chapter 6, Al-An'am, the cattle. They're lost indeed, those who belied the meeting with Allah. They cannot belie the meeting with Allah. It says it happens. When the hour overtakes them, suddenly they will say, alas for us, that we neglected it. On their backs they shall be bearing their sinful loads. How evil is what they sin. So again, about the meeting of God. Chapter 30, Ar-Rum, the Romans. Number 8. Have they never thought to themselves that Allah did not create the heavens and earth and all that is in between except for the truth and for a stated term? Yet most people disbelieve that they will ever meet their Lord. It's a blasphemy to say that you're not going to see Allah in the day of resurrection. Chapter 10 in Yunus. Those who do not expect to meet us and are well pleased with this life and are satisfied with it, and those who are inattentive to our signs. Number 7 in Jonah or Yunus. Chapter 10 again of Yunus, this is number 11. If Allah should hasten evil to people as they would hasten good, their term would already have been decided. But we leave those who do not expect to meet us to wander blindly in their insolence. So it will be an insolence if you do not understand that you are going to meet God. At the same chapter, Jonah or Yunus, as the Arabs they say, Yunus, Jonah. Number 15. When our verses, clear verses, are recited to them, those who do not reckon to meet us say, bring Quran other than this, or make change in it. Say, it is not for me to change it by myself. I follow nothing except what is sent down to me. Indeed, if I should rebel against my Lord, I fear the punishment of a great day. So, very important that the verses of Quran is by God, not by Muhammad. Again, he says they do not reckon to meet with us. There's more. There's lots more. Chapter 25, Al-Furqan, the criterion, which Furqan is a name for Quran too. Those who do not hope to meet us ask, why have no angels been sent to us? Why can we not see our Lord? how proud they are within themselves and have become greatly disdainful. Number 21. Chapter 40. Fussilat, explained in detail. Are they not in doubt concerning the meeting with their Lord? Attention, He encompasses everything. Number 54. Chapter 18, number 105, the cave or Al-Kahf. Those are they who disbelieve the verses of their Lord and deny that they will ever meet Him. Their deeds have failed. On the day of resurrection, we shall not give any weight to them. So if your deeds and action fails, does not bear any fruit, you will not see God. So there is more. Chapter 13, again it's in thunder. It is Allah who raised the heaven without pillar that you see. Oh, I did this once. So in the number 4, let me see again. They say, what when we have been destroyed in the earth, shall we indeed be in a new creation? Indeed, they disbelieve that they will meet their Lord. It's a short thing to meet the Lord in the day of resurrection. That was in chapter 32, As-Sujdah. Number 10, we have chapter 29, again Al-Ankabut. Those who disbelieve that the verses of Allah and the meeting with Him shall despair of my mercy, for them there await a painful punishment. Another one in the Jonah again, number 45. The day when He will gather them, it will be as though they had lingered but an hour of the day, and they will recognize one another, lost are those who belied the meeting with their Lord and were not guided. In these verses, as I read some of it for you, and you can yourself go on the day of resurrection or the meeting with God in the Quran to find, is very important. In Arabic it says, من كان يرجو لقاء ربه فليعمل عملا صالحا. Those who want to see God, they shall do proper deed. But the word salih, which means proper, which means good, in reality it means authoritative act, authentic act. Not every act of goodness bear fruits. A lot of us will do good things, but it may not result in anything. The guy is getting the seed, sowing the seed, planting it, watering it. It looks like a perfect farming. But in the fall there is no fruit coming, no yield. Why? Because the land was a wrong land. It would not bear fruit. So those actions, seemingly good, giving, helping, but actually does not bear fruit because it's not authentic. Authentic acts are those that God says to do. They're guaranteed to work. This is why there are commandments and there are things that God says out of mercy, so we don't get lost. So we have a way to get to it. So there he says, Amilan Salihan, authentic act, not any act. So this means God can come in the day of resurrection and then people actually cannot see Him. Why? Because they did not yield any fruit. Their action failed, as the verse said. So it's not that God comes and everybody seems to, oh, He's God. No, Quran says if you are hoping to see, you have to do authentic act. It means this seeing of God is sort of elusive. Not everyone can. So it makes us to find out who is God. What is this concept of God in Islam? Very strange stuff actually in Quran when you read. I have many here that explains, this is a Baha'i concept, that God cannot be seen because it's not material. But God materializes himself in the form of a man. Christian call him Jesus Christ. We Baha'is, we see Baha'u'llah. Muslim, Muhammad. But when it comes to Muhammad, to Muslim, they say this is infidelity, this is shirk, this is duality. Muhammad is never God, this is blasphemous. You should never say that, this is wrong. Today, at least, that's what they say. To them, I have to bring some verses. Let's see how do we mean. By Muhammad, according to many interpreters, when they're dealing with these kind of chapters, they say Muhammad became a pronoun to the reality of God. Just like to say Abbas, or you could say he, or I. I and he and the she are pronoun for the actual name. Muhammad is a pronoun to God. You can say Muhammad instead of God. It is okay. This explained already to you that God manifests himself in the form of a man. Not his reality in the sense that is the full reality. It is impossible because in a mirror, once the sun shines into a mirror, reflects into the mirror, you can see the mirror to be sun. But the whole sun cannot fit into the mirror, neither all its quality can show. If the heat of the sun transfers into the mirror, the whole earth burns away in an instant. But still, you can see it. Just like a TV that shows the picture or the persona of somebody that you know and he communicates with you perfectly. It is true, so true that everything he says is legally binding, but yet he is not actually in TV, somewhere else. These verses alludes very well to these ideas. Chapter 8, Al-Anfal, this is the one I read in the beginning, I should have not, but it's the time to read it now. This is a story about, in one of the war, that it seems Muhammad attacks the enemy too. He's never killed anybody, but it attacked, and then he throws some kind of a salt, some kind of a dust into their face, maybe them escapes. There's a verse regarding that. It says, "It was not you who killed them, but Allah slew them. Neither was it you who threw at them. Allah threw at them, in order that he confers on the believers a fair benefit. Indeed, Allah is hearing, knowing." Number 17, chapter 8. There you go. The action of the Muhammad is directly contributed to God. So what he did wasn't he doing. It says God was doing it. But Muhammad was doing it. How do we say God is doing it? Because Muhammad becomes a tool, instrument of God. Next one. "But if they seek to betray you, they had betrayed Allah before, but he has let you overcome them. Allah is the knower, the wise." Number 71, chapter 8. Again, those betray Muhammad, they betrayed God, he says. As if Muhammad is Allah, isn't it? In Baqarah, chapter the cow, chapter 2, number 48. "To Allah belongs..." Now, let me read actually a couple of other ones in the same reference. Again, it's another place where non-believers, they would become Muslim. If they were women, they put their hand into the water, Muhammad put in the hand in the water, and they would say, "La ilaha illallah, there is no God but God, and Muhammad is a prophet of God." If it was a man, Muhammad put their hand over the top of their hand. Okay, and they would become Muslim. This is referred to that. Chapter 48, Al-Fat, the victory. "The hand of those who swear allegiance to you swear allegiance to Allah." So the hand of Muhammad becomes the hand of God, isn't it? Again, it says, continues, it says, "Allah is above their hands. he who breaks his oath breaks it against himself, but for that keeps his covenant made with Allah. Allah shall give him a mighty weight. Okay? So we're studying furthermore to see what else can we find about God. They say one Arab came one day, asked Imam Ali, what is the meaning of this verse? This is the verse. Chapter 2, this is in the cow. He says, to Allah belongs the east and the west. Whichever way you turn, there is the face of Allah. He is the embracer, the knower. The Arab was asking Ali, what does this mean? Everywhere there is the face of Allah. How could that mean? Ali ordered to set a fire. They made a fire. Then he asked the Arab, what is the face of fire? And Arab says, everywhere. The fire doesn't have a face. Everywhere is fire, isn't it? Everywhere is face. Ali said, that is what it means. So now we can see the whole planet is nothing but the face of God. Isn't it? So now if we continue a little bit more, we find a few other things really. These are in tradition. In some of this tradition, it's very strange. It says, whoever visited Hussein, which is the third successor of Muhammad who was martyred, and I spoke of it. He says, whoever visited Hussein aware of his truth, it is like he visited God on his throne. In a book called Misbah al-Mujtahid, page 771, in Arabic, it says, Man zara al-Hussein arafan bihaqqihi kaman zara Allah fi arshihi. Whoever visited Hussein aware of his truth, it is like he visited God on his throne. Ooh, Hussein is that big. But the same is said about Muhammad himself. This is in book Al-Muqanna'ah, page 458. Man zarahu kana kaman zara Allah ta'ala fi arshih. It's about the Prophet. Whoever visited Prophet as though he has visited God on his throne. Now we can see Muhammad and Hussein have become the embodiment of God. Okay. There's another one of these, very much the one similar to Quran. He says, whoever transgressed me, verily he has transgressed God. Man asani faqad asi Allah. This is in a book that's called Tawzi al-Masal al-Farsi, page 115. Is the Sheikh Wahid Khurasani is the writer. Okay. Another one, this is in the chapter 4, in the chapter called An-Nisa, the women. Whoever obeyed a messenger, indeed he has obeyed Allah. As for those who turn away, we have not set you to be their protector. Now, based on what I said to you, therefore, visitation of God, which is in 17, 18 verses, I told you, all over the Quran, has to be taken place in the form of a body of a man. Because it says, Muhammad, if you see him, seen God. Hussein, you see him, seen God. Muhammad, a prophet of God, Imam Hussein, which is the successor of Muhammad, they are become manifestation of God, the embodiment of God. You're wondering, what exactly is the definition of Allah in Quran? There are some few strange stuff. This one is very amazing, actually. This is in chapter 57 of Quran. It's called Al-Hadid. In this chapter, God says, I send a prophet with the book, with the reason, with the sword, so that God knows who's been helping him. There are two gods, it seems. If it's God sending the prophet and sending the book for himself to know, he's suffering from some kind of a dementia. He doesn't know that who is his helper. Why would he send all these prophets and everything else so he himself know who is helping him? This doesn't make sense, isn't it? But then he says, I've sent everything for God to know, the word, even to say, so that Allah knows, is taken away. The famous attributes of God called the all-knowing. How would then God be all-knowing according to verse? I read it, chapter 57 Al-Hadid, the iron, page, verse 25. God says, we have sent our messengers with proofs and sent them with the book and the scales, so that people might establish the scale of justice. We have sent down iron, in which there is great might and diverse benefit for people, so that Allah knows those who help him. Allah knows those who help him? Who are those that are helping Allah? What kind of a help? The help of sending the prophets and the book? It's all sent by some people, not one people. Some people have sent the prophet, sent the book for Allah to know this. This is clearly a blasphemy if you take it to the, this is one of those ditches. Just I told you, the book of God is just like the nature. Sometimes it's good, but there are some canyons in it. This is one of them. Try to understand it. Again, we have sent our messengers with proofs and sent them with the book and the scales, so that the people might establish the scale of justice. We have sent down iron, in which there is great might and diverse benefit for people, so that Allah knows those who help him and his messengers in the unseen. Indeed, Allah is the strong, the Almighty. It seems there are two different Allah, especially the Allah that doesn't know and has to know. Another one of these ditches is this, chapter 8 in Al-Anfal, a spoil of war, number 23. Indeed, had Allah known any good in them, what does that mean? That means God didn't know? He says, indeed, had Allah known any good in them, he would have let them hear. But even if he had made them hear, they would have turned away, soaring aside. So Allah doesn't know. This is the verse of Quran, people. Let me bring you some other ones that are truly interesting. In the actual tradition, one of them is from Bukhari, translated in English, in Saudi Arabia, which have directly taken it from it. Al-Bukhari is called the exact Bukhari. This is that the Wahhabi Sunnis, they say after Quran this is the book, but then come an answer. Al-Bukhari, volume 6, page 337, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah Apostle said, Allah said, the son of Adam hurts me, for he abuses time, though I am time. In my hands are all things, and I cause the revolution of day and night. What is this? God says, I am time. Is time, is Allah, God is actually time? Or what does that mean? We have some other ones. This is Imam Ali on the part of the Shiites. This is very nice. He says, Imam Ali says, he says, I saw God and paradise with naked eye. No, we thought God is unseen. Paradise is not here. But there he says, I saw God and paradise with naked eye. Then he says, I do not worship the God I have not seen. Ali is talking about seeing God. Who is this God? Very clear. This God is Muhammad. He's talking about the manifestation of God. Paradise is the faith and the cause of God. You see? As to be time to be God is fine, because Quran says whichever way you turn is the face of God. Whichever. Anything is the face of God. So is time. So God can manifest himself many places, even in time. He could do. As for that verses, which is in the Al-Hadith, it says God says, I will send all the prophet and everything else so that God knows. This is clearly two gods. Or, by my interpretation, there is one God and two mirrors. There's one actor and thousands of TVs. The first one that is sending, the God is speaking in Muhammad. He says, I have sent all of this so the other manifestation of God to know it. Who is that? It is Imam Ali. Because Ali said, I will not worship the God I have not seen. Because of these verses, there are some strange sect in Islam. They are called Ali Allahi. They actually believe Ali is the Allah. And Ali told them that's wrong. Don't say that. But they're thinking because of this side. There are many verses. I do not have it here right now, but it's all there you could see. Muhammad says, I am the Arab without A. Well, if you take the word A from the Arab, it becomes Rab. Rab means God. He says if you take the A from the Arab, that's me. I am Rab. Rab means God. He says, I am Ahmad without M. M refers to material. And if you take the M out of Ahmad, it remains Ahad. Ahad is the name of God. Again, he says. And beautifully, many narrators accepted this one. I just looked at it. It says, لِمَ اللَّهَ حَالَاتٌ أَنَا هُوَ وَهُوَ أَنَا وَلَكِنْ أَنَا أَنَا وَهُوَ هُوَ. For me and God, for me with God, there are conditions. I am He, and He is I. But He is He, and I am I. So, all of this tells us, right now, end of discussion, that in the day of resurrection, which those 20 verses in Quran say that the Muslims are to be waiting to visit God, this visitation takes place in the form of the manifestation of God, just like Muhammad, that was I read you for you in Quran, and other Imams. It would be the promised one, the next messenger of God. When you see Baha'u'llah, you have seen God. That's all it means. Okay? Because that is the day when He comes. We'll explain more about this. The second event that is important in the Islam is that people, the dead people, they're all going to be resurrecting from their graves. They're going to be all alive. I'm not going to waste time because the topic is big, time is short. But if you go in Quran for yourself and their life and their, if you're Persian, Arabic, or if you're English, there are many verses in Quran, just like as it is in the Bible, that giving life, coming alive, speeding out of your grave is meaning to have faith. Just like Jesus says, let dead bury dead. Quran also says, وَمَا أَنْتَ بِمُسْمِعٍ مَنْ فِي الْقُبُورِ. You cannot make those who are in grave to listen to you. They're dead. Quran is referring to those Arabs that wouldn't listen to Muhammad. Their body is alive, but it is the grave of their soul. You see? That is the second event. So speeding out of the grave and all of that does not mean anything literal. All it means is to believe in the new faith of God when it comes. Okay? That's all there is to it. I brought these two very important. The Qiyamah himself, which I could bring maybe next time to say a little bit more about that. It's actually resurrecting or rise or stand up. It is the event that indicates the rise, the standing, the resurrecting, the coming of a prophet of God. Imam Ali, in his most important book, Shiites They Know, in Nahj al-Balagha, he refers to the coming of Muhammad as the day of resurrection. He calls it, that is the hour. So, then every time the prophet of God comes, it is Qiyamah. And I have another book where it refers many people that the coming of a prophet of God, it is the day of resurrection. It's the day God is resurrecting people, that is dead people, spiritually dead, into life. And that rising, Qiyam, to stand up, it is him coming back among the people into a new form, into a new manifestation. Okay, so I covered these two for now, and I will speak about some other very complicated topic in Islam. One of them is about Muhammad being the last prophet of God. That is the common belief among all the Muslims, and this is what their objection is, that the next whoever comes has to be nothing but a Muslim, which is not the truth. The Quran and Islam does not accept such idea. See you people. Allahu Akbar.